Well, this episode is going to be very interesting. As you know, AEW went over 2 hours for the first time in a long time I've ever seen it. And as for Impact Wrestling, we're actually going to go in the aftermath of Bound for Glory, but also heading to the wedding between Rosemary and Johnny E. Bravo. All of that will be reviewed on Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Leader Wrestle Zone. All things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, many promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host, J Rod here. Before I start reviewing AEW Dark and Impact Wrestling, I want to put out some things that are now being addressed in the wrestling world. It's been announced by MLW that they're going to have their shows being broadcast on Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays, which normally that's how it's been. I don't know if they're in direct competition with AEW and NXT. Um, that's practically what I've been hearing. And also the latest news that happened for today. I think today's the 27th of October. It's been revealed now that Serena Deb, who is now the new NWA World's Women's Champion. She was booked to be in a match against Thunder Rosa at the United Wrestling Network for Prime Time, which is a sort of like a network for different promotions to get together, and that's one of the things. Uh, the Wrestling Network are in partnership with the NWA. Serena Deb is currently a member of the roster for AEW. I don't know if there's going to be a partnership of somewhat, but that is something I will discuss later on, maybe till I review both shows. So right now, I think we should start with AEW Dark. Okay, so as you all know, AEW Dark, as I mentioned before, it went 2 hours. It had some great matches. Especially, there's been people that come out for different commentaries. We had boxing Olympian Anthony Ogogo, Miro, and Brandy. Of course, Ricky Starks as always. But the entire event went pretty well. You know, there were some wrestlers who I've heard of and did not expect they were going to be in AEW as the jobbers. But we'll get all that right about now. So let's go from start to finish. First match, it's Top Flight. They're a tag team I just barely knew about. They made their recent appearance at GCW. But one of the members you may have heard of was an MLW, Airwolf. His real name is Darius. They take off his mask, facing off against the Dark Order members, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, which is a really good match. I did like Top Flight. They're a really good team to watch. Hope AEW pays attention and maybe they could use guys like them in their tag team division, which is something we have been witnessing as their focal point in their promotion. But it was a good match. I liked it, but sadly, it was Dark Order who took the victory by applying the fatality on I forgot who, but it was Dark Order who won. Now the next match, this one was a singles match between a guy named VSK versus Ricky Starks. Now I don't know who this VSK is, but I did enjoy. It was okay match. I'm not gonna lie. Not one of Ricky Stark's best matches. I know that he is in a currently feud with Darby Allin, who is upset with the fact that Darby Allin is getting a title shot this coming pay per view for Full Gears. He's upset that if he would have beaten Darby Allin, it would have been him to have that opportunity. But however, it's not going to happen. but he beat VSK in the match. So that's how it ended. The next match we have, well, they actually did a little video promo between Eddie Kingston and Rhea, and the decides to call out Allie and ask her what really happened. Why did she turned on QT Marshall? All this and that. I don't know if there's going to be a feud between Eddie Kingston and his so-called family versus the Nightmare family, even though he sees that they're not a family. So we'll just wait and see where they're going to go with that. Next match, we have Lee Johnson versus Matt Sydal. I have to say, uh, there were times I didn't notice Matt Sydal about his way of wrestling, his technique, his style. I have noticed recently that he has been applying a lot of submission. He was mostly known in the beginning as a high flyer. That is something similar that PJ Black was before that. If you guys ever seen Sammy Guevara's vlogs, there was a moment where PJ Black mentioned how he was a good high flyer, but he had to do groundwork and all that. I think is a similar thing, but I did like how Matt Sydal is applying his submissions into his wrestling style. That's something I had never seen, but I do like how he's reinvented himself, and this kind of allowed him to win for this match. Next match we have is this brand new girl named Layla Hirsch, a Russian amateur wrestler or something. I don't know, or out of somewhere out of Russia, versus our AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida, which is a non-title match. They did show with Layla, she's a bit tougher than she looks. Um, Basically, I think we like to see those women to be tougher as much as possible for someone like Hikaru Shida. She's always been the top striker, when she does her techniques. So, but of course, as always, Hikaru Shida won the match in this one, as always. The next thing we have is another promo video with QT Marshall where he responded about how he felt stupid, naive, that people warned him about Allie, and now Dustin Rhodes is mad that this has happened, that they're calling the shot now. So this is one of those things. So we may see down the line a match between the Butcher and the Blade versus the Natural Nightmares. So I'm not sure exactly how the feud's gonna go because we do know the Dark Order declared a feud with the Nightmare family. I don't know how they're gonna do this because we got Brandy facing off against Anna Jay, that sort of thing. So that it's a bit of confusion, but I'm gonna see in the upcoming weeks how they're gonna go with this. Now the next match is a 6-man tag. We have these guys I never heard of, Jersey Muscle, but their third tag team partner for their 6-man tag is none other than a wrestler who I met, who I talked to, who I mentioned a few times. I'm talking about Danny Limelight, who has recently been in New Japan Strong. I heard he's been in GCW, and I'm pretty much was surprised to see him in AEW. I didn't expect, but there was times I did mention to a few, from various people that maybe he should be with AEW. Because I know certain wrestlers, because he had a different gimmick back then. He had like a Spider-Man gimmick, but now he has a different gimmick where he's bringing out his Puerto Rican roots. Yeah, he's a Puerto Rican descent. If you guys are asking, they were facing off against the fan favorite Jurassic Express. I mean, this was a good match too to watch, especially when you see Jungle Boy against um, Danny Limelight or Marco Stunt. It was pretty good. But as always, it's Jurassic Express that took the victory on this match. Next match, we have the Hybrid Tude versus SCU members Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian. Now, this is one of those matches where you got the old school versus the new school, that type of thing. However, it was very brutal where some tags were blinded, they weren't sure. But however, I kind of expected at the outcome that SCU was going to win it. Is going to win the match, but the Hybrid 2 weren't going to take that too lightly because they don't like to be sore losers in this. So it ended with them sending a message. So that's pretty much what happened for that match. The next one we have Brandy coming out because the next match it was Anna Jay versus another person, another jobber named Catalina Perez. Now, if you guys haven't seen a shot of Brandy, which is a YouTube show by Brandy inviting her guests, making drinks and making food. Her last guest was John Silver, and out of the blue, Anna Jay showed up at the end of the episode. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, I'll try to set up the link so you guys get to see exactly what the entire episode and this and that because it kind of as you know, there is still some rivalry between both Anna Jay, who calls herself the Queen Slayer, and then Brandy, who's declaring herself the Queen. So that's been like that. But however, Anna Jay took the won the match by applying the sleeper hold, the Queen Slayer, onto Catalina Perez. But basically, this rivalry between both Anna Jay and Brandy is far from over. Next thing we have is the one match we've been waiting for. I felt they should have made this the main event. It's whoever wins this match. This was a long time been made. It was Peter Avalon versus Brandon Cutler, while Leva Bates is in the middle of this. This is one of those matches where apparently it kind of went. It was pretty good. I have to say I liked this match. It showed a bit more of what I did not expect. It was like a mix. It was a no DQ, no time limit type of match. I did not. I like this match, even though some people don't like watching AEW Dark. But however, watching this match, it's sold. They need to do matches like this to make sense for people to watch. But frankly, the way this match went about, Leva Bates had enough of Brandon Cutler. I mean, of Peter Avalon. He never cared about her and all this, so she just walked. But the surprising near the end was the arrival of Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, showing support for Peter Avalon. And because they showed his support, Brandon Cutler won the match. So now he has one win in his belt and 25 losses, 2 ties. As for Peter Avalon, he has no wins, 28 losses, 2 ties. So basically, Peter Avalon is still winless. But yeah, it was a good match. I give this one a 10. Now, the next match we have it's Anthony Bowens and Max Carter versus the Best Friends. Basically, we had two guys, like another set of jobbers that decided, to do a little rap duo type of thing, to insult the Best Friends. But as always, you cannot beat the Best Friends. And, excuse me. But it was a good match. I'm not going to lie about it. It was good, not the best, but it was good. So the Best Friends won this one. Now, during the interview, there was another interview that was being made by Alex Marquez. He was about to talk to Scorpio Sky, but out of nowhere, when he got into the locker room, it was completely thrashed. Or should I say, trashed. The only one person most likely that could have done it is the one man who's calling Scorpio Sky a thief, and that is Sean Spears. So basically, Spears felt that he took something from him, and I'm talking about when he nearly tried to take out Matt Sydal. So that is yet to be seen. The next match, it's Fuego del Sol versus Brian Cage, and I don't need to give you the results that fast. I'll just do it. Say it anyway. Brian Cage won the match. So then the next match we have Sean Maluda versus 10. So I guess we're seeing more about 10. Many of the members of the Dark Order now being either displayed as singles competitor or tag team competitors. And I say this is more a good thing for them, because they need to be more recognized. And we still haven't seen Brody Lee of years of late. But yeah, that's what I see. Now, the next match we have is uh, Kalen King versus no, Kalen King and Savannah Evans versus Diamante and Ivelisse. Uh, I can tell you who won that one. That one was done by Diamante and Savannah. No, and Ivelisse. I mean, sorry, my bad. Then we have Aaron Solo versus Sunny Kiss. Uh, I can tell you Sunny Kiss won that match, as always, because we always seen Aaron Solo lose to some of the bigger stars of AEW. But apparently they were attacked by Lance Archer, so he is still on a title hunt. He doesn't care who comes out as world champion in Full Gear is either Moxley or Eddie. So it makes no difference. I think there are some people saying how they can protect Moxley and Eddie Kingston from this. I can predict maybe those two, that Lance is just going to show up and ruin the party. That's how I see it. Now we have this match, Nick Komodos, Kodomo, whatever his name is, versus Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs continued to impress me with his powerhouse as we seen over the past couple months. So he won that match. Next match we have Alex Chamberlain versus Darby Allin. Good match, very resilient from Darby, and he won that match. But however, he was attacked by both Stark and Cage. But all of a sudden, we get the surprising save of Will Hobbs. Taz is still waiting for him on his offer, but we'll just wait and see what's going to happen. So I think that's pretty much it, what we got for AEW Dark. Like I said, it's only 2 hours long. So let's move on to Impact Wrestling. Okay, it's been a couple of days since we last seen Bound for Glory. Boy, that match was amazing. That paper was amazing. We have a new uh, Impact Wrestling World Champion. We have new tag team champions and new knockouts. Uh, Still the same X Division champion. So practically it went great. So they showed a bit of the recap of what happened about for Glory. But let's just jump into the first thing that's the opener. We have Eric Young attacking um, Rich Swann. Basically, he's entitled to a rematch, but he's been beating him up, thinking by attacking him it will warn him out to ensure he gets it. So it was getting too far. He was taking the fight badly. However, Scott D'Amore and security managed to separate Eric Young from Rich Swann. Basically, what happened, D'Amore wasn't going to let this happen, but Rich Swann pleaded with D'Amore, let it happen. Let him have his match right now for his rematch. So D'Amore was like against it, but however, he was confident enough to let Rich Swann continue the match. But he did the whole match, and not in your ring attire. He had his pants, no shoes, no gear. Basically, that's what happened. But the way it went, it looked like Eric Young is trying desperately to get back. He felt that the Impact Wrestling is his asylum, but however, it did not end well for him. It ended with Rich Swann winning the match, and now Eric Young is in the back of the line and start from the top. But he is not. I have a feeling it's not going to be the end of this with him. But however, there's always new enemies that be coming over. Now, next thing we have is Havoc. As you all recall, Havoc made a deal with Rosemary. Rosemary, in the other hand, did something, said to, um, Rosemary wants to bring Father James Mitchell back from wherever he was at to officiate her wedding to Bravo. And Havoc was not having it, including Nevaeh, who said that she has a bad feeling over this. And throughout the night, that's what many people thought about it. So the next thing we have, as you know, it's already been announced during Bound for Glory that there's going to be a Knockouts Tag Team Championship tournament. We haven't seen these titles for a long time. I'm excited for it. I already told people, including female wrestler Christy Jane, and she's excited. But the way it went down, we have Havoc and Nevaeh as one team, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz as one. You have Tennille Dashwood and by herself. We have Jordan Grace and Alicia. Alicia said she wants a partner, so she teamed up for the day with Jordan Grace. And it ended up in a Knockouts tag team match. but the tournament will begin in 3 weeks. But from what I understand, that the winners for the knockouts tag team will take place at Hard to Kill in January. From from my understanding. Now, this next match was kind of a bit of a hardcore match between Brian Myers and Tommy Dreamer. Brian Myers just had it with Tommy Dreamer getting his way. He proclaimed himself to be the most professional wrestler, even though he's a cheater. And Tommy Dreamer was trying to teach him a lesson to be respectful, but Brian Myers being respectful, trying to be respectful doesn't get him nowhere. He wants to prove something. But all of a sudden, Tommy Dreamer came out in his World Warrior kind of makeup type setup, maybe like Animal. It was a very interesting hardcore match. He pulled out a bag full of candy with thumbtacks. I'm like, ugh. As always, that always. But the biggest surprise near the end, Swoggle came out to help Tommy Dreamer. You see, in Bound for Glory at the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, Hornswoggle and Brian Myers go way back, but he turned on him by eliminating him, and this time he got his revenge. And Tommy Dreamer picked up the victory for this match, allowing himself to win, which was totally cool. Now, the next interview we have is Rhino and Heath. Rhino was celebrating the fact that he actually won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. So, what his shot is, he wants to make a play for the Impact World Tag Team titles now that Heath is by his side, and he's gonna get a contract. But however, rumors circulate. The story goes out already that Heath is hurt. Apparently, they kind of wait up with the story that he's okay. They don't need it, but even though they're faking it, denying the whole thing, that he's not okay. So that pretty much kind of went into a funny segment right there. So basically, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but next week Heath will sign the contract to finally work with Impact Wrestling. Now, the next thing we have, as you know, Fallah Ball a couple weeks ago stole the wad of cash from Hernandez while he was in the shower. Reno Scum and Hernandez came around and looking for him, and Fallah Ball told him that, yes, I'm sorry, but I did it for Bravo. So basically, he kind of put the blame on Bravo for what happened, but what happened next? He pulls out the wad of cash from his pants. It was so bizarre. But everybody said the same thing. I had a bad feeling about this. So that's the way I see it with it. Now, next thing we have is Triple XL versus the Rascals, Dez and Wentz. This is one of those matches where we're seeing Triple XL being heels, but also a bit more aggressive in the match. I was like thinking, okay, the Rascals have to put their speed into this, but will it be enough to stop two huge guys with Larry D and AC Romero? Answer that question, no. Basically, they were all about destruction, and that allowed for Triple XL to win. But however, it didn't end right there for them, as you guys don't know. Now, due to the events of what happened in Bound for Glory, we still have no word about Kylie Ray. We were well aware, and it was already advertised that she was going to face Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Championship. However, no, it's still unclear what happened to her. Reports were coming in saying she was injured. But of course, we had the sudden arrival of Su Yung, Susie's undead ego. However, Deonna Purrazzo believed that this was invalid, that Su Yung should not have been there. Her attorneys is saying that they will file a lawsuit unless Scott D'Amore overturn it and return the title back to Deonna Purrazzo. But however, Scott D'Amore decided, you know what? I'll just say it anyway. They wanted to wait till the end of the night, but D'Amore decided to go with it as whatsoever. Now, as you all know, what happened as well with the in Bound for Glory for the tag team titles, Motor City Machine Guns lost the titles, but they were not the ones that were made the pin. However, they do have a shot of the title since they were not the ones being pinned. But however, Triple XL refuse to let that slide. They believe they had their chances. It's time for them to move on. But Triple XL weren't going to let them get away with it. So they attack Alex Shelley, who's injured. Basically, I don't know if they're going to enter a feud with Triple XL since they claim they deserve to be at the top for the title. We do have others like the Good Brothers and all that. So we'll just wait and see where they're going to go with it. Next thing we have, as we all continued on about this whole thing with the Knockouts Championship, the more came out and made it perfectly clear. You, Deonna Purrazzo, you issued an open challenge to anyone. But now he's saying this, okay, you have the right to sue. Go ahead. But that'll take at least 5 years or so. But he's saying, but you demonstrated, you said you're the virtuosa, the best technical wrestler. So basically he made her say, you have two choices. You can sue me, but it'll take years, or be the person you say you are, the best technical wrestler. So basically, Deonna consulted with her attorney and accepted the terms that she will, face Su Yung, and she's cashing in her rematch clause that will take place next week. But however, it did not end there. Su Yung showed up, put both the attorney and Kimberly in the claw, spit miss right in the more. I don't know how he's going to feel about that, but later put the claw on Deonna Purrazzo. Is this, we don't know what, I'm like, this is going to be insane. Su Yung is back with a vengeance. So it's going to be an interesting rematch. Now, as you know, we saw Rich Swann has been celebrating the fact that he not only he beat Eric Young at Bound for Glory for the title, but he retained the title from Eric Young. But however, he just made enemies in different locations. As you know, Moose, who has the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, he claims his title is the most prestige, the number one title in Impact. As for the Impact World title, it's number 2. So basically, he's trying to portray he's better than Rich Swann, all that. But of course, Willie Mack was going to stand up for his friend. But of course, Moose wasn't going to let that happen, was not going to give in to what Willie Mack is demanding. So it kind of went that way. But however, it didn't end there. Apparently, another target in his back has been made with the surprise visit of his old friend, Sami Callihan, and the most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. So basically, I don't know if Rich Swann realizes now that being champion is great, but at the same time, you're having enemies coming from all sides. So first Moose, then Rich Swann and Ken Shamrock, then that's pretty much what's going to go. But we did manage to see, of course, if you guys were aware, Ken Shamrock is now at the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was greeted by many people, Bret Hart, Mick Foley, and a few others. And of course, none other than the Brahma Bull, the People's Champ, The Rock. So it was a good thing to watch. I like how he talked about him and many others did. But it was now shown that he is now part of the Hall of Fame. Next thing we see is the North, who try to act like they're the Good Brothers, giving their stories and all that, which is not that great. The Good Brothers got in their faces and all this and that, and it turned into a big melee between both the Good Brothers and the North. But it's already been announced that Ethan Page will face off against the big LG, Doc Gallows, in a singles match next week. So I'm excited to see how this is going to be played out. Now, as you know, they always do this Impact Plus flashback moment of the week. We go to Victory Roads, where in fact we see Rohit Raju retain his title, the X Division title, from Willie Mack, and that's pretty much what's been happening. However, while Rohit Raju tries to celebrate that everything came out, Jimmy Jacobs said something that kind of scared him, that, that TJP is still looking for him. That He had the match won in Bound for Glory, but however, Rohit Raju stole it from him, allowing Rohit Raju to steal one. So he's not happy that TJP is still hunting for the title, even though Rohit Raju is saying, I'm done with them. I don't need to face them anymore. But however, it doesn't mean that his battle with them is over. Then, of course, we see, as you all recall, Falabal kind of put the finger on Bravo for what he did, and Johnny was not a happy camper. So he told them that this is bad and what he did, that he took something from them and all this and that, and you call yourself a best man. So basically, it ended badly. Now we jump into the knockouts match between Kara Hogan and Tasha Steelz versus Alicia and Jordynne Grace. The match was going in the favor of Jordynne Grace and Alicia, but however, somewhere down the line, the balls dropped and allowing Hogan and Steelz to win this one. Now, so many people are already starting to say that they pictured Steelz and Kara Hogan to win the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Others saying Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. If I was a betting man, I would say Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. I don't think they have held those titles yet, because I do know both of them are Knockouts champions. Now, as you all know, Willie Mack stood up for Rich Swann, thanks to Moose, calling him that he is not worth it for, being a champion, all this, that. Apparently, he was attacked by Moose. So this is going to be into an interesting feud. Moose is proclaiming himself that he is a world champion. Someone needs to beat him down and take that title and destroy it. So that's what happened. Now, we're getting close to the wedding. Rosemary and Tails have a little chit chat, but however, something is telling her something is going to go bad. I mean, normally it does, but we jump into the wedding. As we all seen everybody come out, we see the maid of honor, the best man, Father James Mitchell came back. So the wedding was going great. It was going like any other story. But however, this isn't the first time in a wedding for an Impact ended in a happy ever after. It didn't. Lights turned off and someone shot Bravo. He was dead. And there's only one person I can think that would have done it. If you guys want to know who I think did it, I think it was Hernandez. Thank you, Falaball. You just pissed off the wrong people. So we just got to wait and see what happens next week. So let me give you guys my rundown about Serena Deb winning the women's championship, but also give you guys another thing that just came out, coming from the Chris Van Vliet show, and that will be coming up right about now. Okay, so what I thought about about Serena Deeb becoming the NWA Women's World Champion. Now, I did stated that Serena Deeb is now All Elite. She signed a contract with them. As you all know, AEW are one of those promotions that are allowing their talent to work in the independents, unlike WWE, that they never allow that unless if you're making some one-offs with other promotions, like what Kenta did when he was with Hideo Itami, going to Pro Wrestling Noah, or going with Evolved, or Progress Wrestling, whatever. But seeing this, I don't know if this is the possibility of a partnership. I don't know if this is something that Billy Corgan or Nick Aldis have thought about. We have seen Cody Rhodes face off Nick for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship twice. One when Cody won it and one when Nick reclaimed it. Um, that's pretty much it. I've been trying to understand more about this. I don't know if what really is, but seeing Serena Deb winning the women's title, I haven't seen it yet, but there's also talk that she will put the title on the line against Layla Hirsch. I can't wait to see that, see how that goes. Still trying to understand with Thunder Rosa if there is going to be a possible rematch. Some of you guys asked me, would say, how can we see this match? You guys can look on the United Wrestling Network. You can see it on Fight TV or any place possible to catch it because I know that some of you might want to see it. Now, the next thing I saw, as you all heard, uh, Sadie Gibbs, who was one of the women that Nick Jackson had his eye on to recruit for AEW, and recently she was in fact released from the company. Now, some of you saying that there's probably some problems. There were speculations that it had something to do with the altercation with B Priestley at an AEW show. Frankly, that's not the case. According to her, what happened is when the pandemic happened, she was only 5 days away from moving from London, UK, all the way to Atlanta, Georgia. Now, some of you are saying, okay, if she was leaving, that's cool. But however, you're probably saying, why would she move to Atlanta, Georgia? Well, if you guys know Sadie Gibbs, she's an avid CrossFit person. She works out a lot. She keeps herself training. She wanted to be at the Nightmare Factory. So that's pretty much it. She said she was only 5 days away from moving from the UK and all that. She had her boxes, suitcases, all of that ready. But however, the reason is they were unable to fly her from the UK all the way to the States for AEW. But they did state it that the door is still open for her until things are get back to normal. Now, do I think she should be back? I feel that she could be a valuable asset. She still has hopes to be returning with AEW. That's a good thing because right now, not a lot of the wrestling independence in the UK is happening due to the restrictions. But however, the only shows that is still happening is the NXT UK. As you know, WWE has a much bigger resource to pull it off, with their connections down there. But we'll see how that goes. So I think that's about it I got in this episode for all of you guys. I hope you love the reviews of what I did for both shows. Stand by for more on the Wednesday Night War, and I will, if there's any more of the Road to the Power Struggle with New Japan Pro Wrestling, I will do that. Soon I will do a review for the GCW Collective, which is 12 shows in 3 days, 4 each. That's going to be one hell of a review. So I must bid all of you guys adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!